Hello, my name is Dalton Parker, and this is my final presentation for PFTR 2491 Practicum number 2. So today I'm going to be presenting on a bit of my Practicum experience. I completed my Practicum at Rock Jungle Fitness. At Rock Jungle Fitness, it is our mission to create a positive atmosphere where we work hard, have fun, and develop a supportive community. Our number one priority is to ensure proper lifting techniques are done, we have adequate mobility and safety of our athletes because we're trying to build sustainable athletes. Now, before we progress any of our athletes moving forward, we're going to make sure that they're using proper technique with lifting heavier weights before we push them, or lifting properly so that we can get them to move faster or ascend the wall in a different manner. So a little bit about the facility itself. Rock Jungle offers a various amount of physical activities such as rock climbing, yoga, personal training, and CrossFit. On the climbing side of the facility, there are three kinds of different walls. There's top rope, there's lead, and there's bouldering walls. We have 2,500 square feet of boulder walls on two tiers. So basically we have a bottom floor and a top floor. And then there is 7,500 square feet of 30 to 40 foot tall top rope and lead walls with 33 top rope belay stations and a complete dedicated lead climbing area. On the fitness side, we have almost every kind of fitness equipment imaginable, and there's always staff on call so that we are making sure that you're lifting efficiently and effectively if you don't know what you're doing. So I'm going to go through a little bit of a disclaimer here. I am currently, before I started the Practicum, I was a CrossFit coach at Rock Jungle Fitness, and it stated that in the Practicum handbook, a student cannot perform Practicum at a fitness facility which they are employed, but I have been in contact with my course instructor and she gave me the okay to perform the Practicum at this location as long as I only included personal training and rock climbing. Now, I believe that this is super beneficial for me for a couple of different reasons. First, with doing personal training there, I was able to do it all under my Practicum supervisor. I'm going to talk about him in the next slide. He's a super knowledgeable individual, helped me out tremendously with rock climbing and personal training. The second, after this Practicum is completed and I complete my certification to become a personal trainer, I'm actually looking at becoming a fitness manager for Rock Jungle Fitness. And third, I'm super happy that I was able to do Practicum at this location because before it began, I actually never climbed before, and that's actually something that's a huge fear of mine. I didn't really do heights because when I was younger, I was involved in a motor vehicle accident which injured the vestibular apparatus. So anything above like 10 feet in height kind of felt like I was spinning. So it definitely pushed me out of my comfort zone to climb up the walls. Now I can climb up to the 40-foot tall lead pit and I have no trouble. So anybody that has problem with heights or doesn't think that they're able to complete this activity, I can help you because I overcame those fears myself. So just like I said in the previous slide, I'm going to talk a little bit about my Practicum supervisor. My Practicum supervisor is Ann Archambault. He is a formal physical education teacher that wanted to amalgamate his passion for climbing and athletics and just creating a facility. He kind of just wanted to work on his own and own his own business. Dan is a national ranked climber, so he does have quite a bit of experience in climbing on walls. In 2010, he began to follow CrossFit, and that was basically the kind of start to CrossFit. It's the years of its infancy. He really recognized that the benefits of CrossFit will translate over into climbing. There's a stark example that I'm going to use. In climbing, there's a technique called dyno, where an athlete has a set route going up, but they can't reach the next hold, so they're going to have to use momentum and they're going to jump to the next hold, which relates over basically to our wall ball that we use in CrossFit. Basically, we have a big weight in our hands, like it's a big ball, and we have to squat it down and then push it up and lift it and throw it and jump, basically to get it moving up. So this translates over perfectly. Or like sustained contractions in climbing, basically holding and pulling ourselves up. That's basically a pull-up, and we do static pull-ups in CrossFit all the time. So there are many parts which relate back and forth to each other, and he found that those worked very complementary. In 2011, Dan sustained a very massive climbing injury. He fell off the wall. So with using CrossFit as a rehabilitation tool, he was able to recover to the level that he injured himself prior, or even increase his performance a bit. And this just shows that you don't have to be a strong, fit, super dude. It can be something as easy as returning from injury. In climbing and CrossFit are very physically demanding, so Dan needed to find some better way to recover his body from these physical activities. So he went out looking, and the best answer he found was yoga. He realized that the overall breathing and relaxation tools and the static holds, like the sustained stretching of yoga, is very beneficial for both CrossFit and climbing. So he became a certified Ashtanga yoga instructor. Some of his other qualifications for coaching, he has a Bachelor of Physical Education, a Bachelor of Education, CrossFit level 2 and 1. He also has his CrossFit certification in kids coaching, gymnastics, mobility, weightlifting, specifically with a focus in Olympic weightlifting and endurance programming. He also has a certification from NCCP for Olympic weightlifting, and as I mentioned previously, he is a Yoga Alliance certified Ashtanga yoga teacher. So just a little bit about Practicum. It was required that we complete 70 hours in Practicum. I actually completed a lot more than this. At the very end, I totaled 111 hours. Now the reason I went over so far on this is because I'm going to jump at any opportunity that I have to learn more. In all of my individual training sessions, Dan was there. He was watching me. He was basically shadowing just in case. He didn't say anything in the sessions. Afterwards, we would chat. This went very well. This didn't go so well. This needed to be changed. And if there was something in the session that was not correct, he would immediately stop me, correct it, and then let me continue on my way. So like I said, we were required to do 70. I did 111. So now I'm going to discuss a little bit about the duties and the projects that I was assigned at the facility. So as I mentioned, Rock Jungle is pretty big. We have a wide variety of physical activities. So the duties kind of were varied on the day, and it kind of depended on the different client goals, their availability, the facility needs, and my own work schedule, just because I wasn't allowed to count CrossFit classes as hours for the Practicum. I had to work around that schedule. So an example of just like a typical day for me is I would have clients come in working on specific deficiencies. So they would usually come in like an hour before class and ask me to go through a specific progression sequence for them to learn a specific skill. An example is one of the gals that I was training. She had started wishing to learn how to perform a muscle up. At the very start, we had her perform just pull-ups, getting the correct motion, and then we introduced a box, then we got her up on top of the bar, lowered the box, so she had to use more of a kip to get herself over using the band, and just this week, she was actually able to perform a muscle up. Another one of my clients wanted to simply learn the dyno. As you can see in the top right here, to my right, your guys' left, we actually got her to perform her first dyno, which was amazing. Another one of my clients wanted to perform a lateral dyno. So basically, you go up there's a hole on the side and you only have room to reach with one hand. You have to push off and reach with the other and grab with the other hand. He actually failed on this one, but he came super close to landing it. Another aspect was the client, the same one that wanted to do the dyno, she had trouble getting her hips to the wall, because if we get our hips close to the wall, we're actually able to utilize more momentum and keep ourselves more stable in that position. And finally, one other client that I had was an actual national level climber. He had an injury, he fell off the wall and broke his hand and rolled his ankle very severely. The rehabilitation program that he was on was not, it basically wasn't working for him, so I went in and I modified all his program to get him so that he was able to use a pinch hold and also get his ankle strong so that we could use a hook, a heel hook, but I'm going to describe that later on in the video. So now I'm going to discuss a couple of the projects that I designed for the facility. Now, each individual client came looking for a specific progression sequence to learn a new skill. I did give reps, sets, all of the how you perform these ones, but we all know how to personal train. We all know how to make a workout program. So I'm going to tell you about the projects that I actually designed for the facility itself to increase its efficiency. So the first one I would like to talk about is the stretching seminars. So I implemented stretching seminars every Sunday from 1 to 3, just because I felt as mobility is a very important part of physical activity, and CrossFit or Rock Jungle does offer yoga into its membership, but the yoga is only offered on Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays in the evening. And a lot of people can't make it to these classes because people work during the week. So I offered weekend class, my own stretching routine. I designed it all myself, and I put it forward every week. Another event that I put forward is a kind of just a staff facility-wide event to get more crossover. I don't think that we need to be so segregated. In Rock Jungle, when you walk in the door, you either go left onto the climbing side or right into the training side, and there needs to be more crossover because there are lots of benefits to both activities that we can gain, and we want athletes to be most efficient and effective. So I designed a event. Basically, we're going to take it's CrossFit meets climbing. We're going to get the climbers to come over and to the CrossFit side, and they're going to do a CrossFit workout with us. I'm going to explain all the different movements, how you perform it most efficiently and effectively, and then once we all do the workout, we're going to go over to the climbing side, and they're actually going to put up a route just for the CrossFit coaches, just so that we get more staff amalgamation, just so I know who I'm working with, basically. The last thing that I would like to talk about is the climbing fundamentals. I designed a climbing fundamentals package. It was actually for my pass-fail assignment. It's just basically a FAQ sheet on climbing with photos, videos, a bit of a description on the different forms of climbing, the equipment, the different kinds of holds you see, like what's the difference between top rope, lead, what's dynos, what are campusing, what's sustained contraction, what's rainbow climbing versus strict climbing, and just basic things that you find at our facility. So I tried to submit this assignment in the pass-fail, but the document was too large for me to upload, so I'm going to put it at the end of this presentation as well. I just advise everybody just to take a look, to experience something new, to just reach out of your comfort zone. So here, as you can see, I have the pass-fail assignment. Like I said, I also did submit it as well after this assignment, so it's better quality. You can actually see the description. You can see the different kinds of holds up on the top. I have every kind of hold. Every gym has them a little bit differently, but essentially they're going to be the exact same. Each hold has a bit of a description. I went through with my Practicum supervisor, Dan, so the national level climber, so he kind of knows the different kinds of holds and how you use them most efficiently. So I gave them a little bit of a description. In the bottom here you can see I also have videos to the different falling techniques in bouldering, what's the difference between lead climbing and top rope climbing, how to time a climber's knot, and all those different things. So I have just how to properly fall, a little bit of a description of how to do it, the slight equipment that you're gonna see at a climbing gym. These are my CrossFit shoes. CrossFit shoes are actually really cool. It's something that I actually want to talk about. They're a lot tighter. So I'm a size 10 foot. Climbing shoes are a lot smaller. So my climbing shoes are a size 9. Now, the reason that you want them so small, so tight, so snug is so that you're holding and it can grip onto holds a little bit better, because sometimes the holds that you're trying to place a foot on are just big enough for your big toe to touch onto. So that's why it needs to be tight and in place. It's also very sticky. It has lots of rubber on the heel and on the toe, and those are for heel hooks and toe hooks. Something that is described in this package a little bit later as well. Here's harnessing, so that's when I do any of the top rope and any of the lead climbing stuff. I have to anchor in and they have to belay me. Here's my chalk bag. Just basic equipment that you would see at the climbing gym. Here is basically hangboards. Now, a hangboard is something that climbing athletes use to develop grip strength. So you either grip on your fingertips, the entire palm of the hand, you use fingers as finger holds to get into little things, and pinches. You like pinch together to try to like propel yourself up. So just a little bit of description, better quality if you look after my assignment. So now I'm just going to move on to the modification side of projects that I was doing at my practicum. So I didn't really modify too many people's programming from anything that they had. There was that one individual that I'm going to talk about at the very bottom. But there were a couple of facility things that I did manipulate. So the first was gym cleanliness. As you can see from the video, I'm a very neat, very tidy, I'm kind of a little bit OCD. So cleanliness is something that I need to be more proficient in. At Rock Jungle, we're very pet friendly. So between the climbing, the CrossFit, there's a lot of chalk and a lot of dust flying through the air. If you allow pets, there's going to be a lot of dander, a lot of hair hanging around. And in CrossFit gym, you always have the door open so that you get a breeze through. So there's lots of dust flying in. So it gets really dirty really fast. So I created a cleaning schedule just for everybody to abide by. And the facility has been a lot cleaner, and clients have actually commented on it. So that was very beneficial to see. The second thing I did was corporate membership. Now, at Rock Jungle, they don't advertise very well. We don't have a sign up front. We don't advertise through commercials or through like anything on radio. So what I did was I created like pamphlets, just a little booklet up here. So we can go to different businesses, hand the cards out to people, give them a little description of like what Rock Jungle is all about. And I've actually had a couple of corporate groups come and make bookings for like nights so that they could have like staff parties and just like team building things. The last point that I would like to talk about is the one athlete. I mentioned him earlier. He had that nasty fall. He was a national ranked climber. He was doing a lot of the eccentric contractions to develop a bunch of grip strength, which develops a lot of strength, don't get me wrong, but his problem was holding it. He couldn't sustain hold. So we did a lot of sand ball crunches with the fingers. We did a lot of pinching on the plate. We did the rice bucket things just to get the hand open. And at the very end of it, as you can see, he was able to perform a pinch hold. That was his first pinch hold he was able to successfully complete since his injury in May. He also was able to heel hook. First successful heel hook since May as well. So it's nice to see athletes progress from your programming as well. So now I'm going to discuss a little bit of the rapport I developed with the staff and some of the clients and my supervisor. Like I said, I was a CrossFit coach prior to starting the Practicum, so I already had an established rapport with any of the staff. But since I started, I'm more on the climbing side, so I got to meet more of the climbing instructors who helped me significantly improve my climbing, and having the ability to teach climbing, if you have no experience, shouldn't be up on the wall teaching people. So I basically had to learn how to climb, and then I was able to teach people, which was fantastic and phenomenal. One specific, two individuals I would like to specifically mention are the facility manager and the lead climbers. They're very experienced climbers, and they took a specific interest in teaching me how to climb, along with Dan as well. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. And my climbing has been phenomenal. Climbing is rated on a scale from 1s being the easiest to 8s being the most difficult. Usually you're able to do 1s, 2s, 3s just with strict upper body strength, just muscle yourself up, but like anything above that, like 4s, 5s, 6s, you have to use a bunch of different technique to get up, and then 7s and 8s are for the only experienced climbers. I'm able to do like 6s, sometimes a 7, not very often, but with their training and their guidance, I was able to get there, which is super phenomenal. Another thing that I would like to bring up is in the practicum, I had developed a better rapport with my supervisor. I frequently socialize with him, his wife, and their 2 young twin 4-year-old boys outside of the gym. I actually believe that this has been super beneficial for me as well, learning to train, because I'm more compassionate, I'm more gentle, I'm quieter, and it's just taught me to be more vocal, and just have more confidence in myself and be just a better coach. So now I'm going to discuss some challenges I had at the Practicum site. I always found that communication can lack at my facility. Dan is the boss, so he does make all the decisions, and he's not always at the facility. Like, he's always available, you can contact him, but in the past few months, like this spring, he found out he had a tumor that needed to be removed from his back, which is scheduled to get done this fall. So he's not at the facility as much. I say as much. Instead of being there 12 hours, he's only there 8 hours a day now. Basically just running from appointment to appointment, trying to get more stuff done. So sometimes this can create a bit of confusion with the administrative staff as to how to schedule clients. And that's going to fall a lot on my shoulders, because I mentioned after this certification is complete, I'm looking at getting into becoming a fitness manager for Rock Jungle. So a lot of that's going to fall onto me. It's going to be my responsibility. Moving right along, so how was my practicum measured successful or not? Basically, Dan himself is going to be the measure of success for this one. It basically, having an individual as knowledgeable and knowing as much and having the experience that he has been super beneficial for me, because I've been able to learn so much under him. It's been absolutely phenomenal. With every single one of my projects, I would always discuss with him, and he would also give me input on how, no, you're incorrect on this, this should be changed a little bit, and it just helped me understand the different physiology behind exercise a little bit better, and like I said, it's been tremendous. So now I'm going to discuss some of the client satisfaction. Did I meet their needs? Now, it's very difficult for me to pick satisfaction stories out, because many of my clients achieved firsts or PRs, but I'm going to pick 2 clients specifically to talk about. So the first one suffered a back injury in her earlier years, so she wasn't able to get any of the exercises that involved flexion and extension in the back, so like anything like back squat or like bench press. Bench press is the one that I like to talk about. As you can see from the center photos, this photo was taken at the beginning of training and this photo was taken at the end of training. So at the beginning she was not able to have any of that back arch, and we know that if you're able to get a back arch, you can engage the trunk muscles, which help you push more weight up. At the end, we put more in. So the way we got her to put this is through coming to the stretching sessions on Sundays, and she was able to do more self-myofascial release exercises. So she was able to strengthen it, and we progressed on the GHD machine. So she was able to strengthen it as well. So she's swole and flexy now. That's a wrong mod reference. So she was able to get a back arch, and she PR'd her bench press by 20 pounds, which is phenomenal. The other athlete that I would like to talk about is this individual on the bottom here. She was actually hoping to get into training to learn more about performing the gymnastics movement, specifically handstands. She had a complete fear of being inverted. So what we did to start her learning how to perform a handstand was we had her pike off of a box just to get that shoulder stability and get comfortable engaging this gap. Once she was comfortable in that position and very strong, we actually moved her to the invert machine, which is pictured up top here. What that does is it basically straps the athlete in the bottom, and then you're able to invert them completely. So it trains them so that they're comfortable being upside down. After that, we were actually able to take her to the wall. This is actually her very first attempt at a handstand. She got it on the very first attempt, which was absolutely phenomenal. To see an athlete progress from being petrified of being upside down to being able to do this. She's actually able to do handstand push-ups consistently now, which is amazing. So I'm just gonna end up my project here by giving myself a little bit of an evaluation. So the first one is accountability to the organization. I'm gonna give myself a 5 out of 5 on that one, just because I said I'm a coach there already. I did my practicum there, and I plan on becoming the fitness manager at the facility once the certification has been complete. So I'm all in on that one. Communication with staff and clients. Something about me that you're not going to notice from the video because I'm trying to talk really loud, but there's a big difference between talking in front of a person and talking to a machine. I know you're on the other side of the computer watching, but I'm a very quiet and reserved person, and like I said, I was involved in the motor vehicle accident, so writing is not the easiest thing for me. So I mentioned in my Practicum evaluations that vocalization and writing my programs out on the whiteboard are something that I definitely need to work on. So I'm gonna give myself a 3 out of 5 on that one. Information gathering with business operation of projects and client data collection. I'm also gonna give myself a 3 out of 5 on that one, just because I do collect all the data. If you bench press at PR weight, I'll tell you, yeah, we need to be at close to this weight. This is what you were last time, but see how you feel. Some days you're just not going to be as strong as others, right? Like you might not have slept properly, you might not be recovered, you might not have the proper nutrition. So it was all depend on the day. There's significant other factors that we need to consider, but it's something that I need to improve on, and I know that for myself. The next one is exercise and movement demonstration, cueing and presentation skills. I'm gonna give myself a 4 out of 5 on that one, just because I did go through an accident myself. So I have gone through all the rehabilitation training. I'm myself a CrossFit athlete, so I do have quite a wealth of experience in exercise. So learning these different skills isn't hard for me to teach other people. Punctuality and availability. I'm gonna give myself a 5 out of 5 on that one. As we've seen in the hours completed, I had 111 hours out of the 70 required, so I'm a little bit of an overachiever that way. And I've actually never been late for work, so I'm giving myself a 5 out of 5. And then the knowledge gained at the site, I'm also gonna go with a 5 out of 5 on that one, just because I learned a tremendous amount from Dan, from the lead climbers, from everybody on the climbing side and the personal training side. I can't say enough good things about the facility that I was at. I learned a tremendous amount. It's going to help me become a better trainer in the future. So thank you very much for listening to me rant on. I hope I didn't go too long, and have a great afternoon.